Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm here, as you can see in the background, overlooking the Flowers Gate, one of the 7 open gates of Jerusalem, on the walls of the old city and overlooking a future archaeological dig and the Flowers Gate general compound. Of course, in the background, as you can see, is Har HaBayit, no Bet HaMikdash, but Har HaBayit, that needs to be understood. Mounds of olives, a spectacular view from the city walls, the ramparts. This week's Parsha is Parshat Shemot. We're starting a new chapter, the chapter of Am Yisrael. Some people call it the book of Geula. Interesting, there's only one letter difference between Gola and Geula, and that's Hashem. The way to truly make Aliyah, if we want to be out of Gola or Galut and have Geula, is if one incorporates Hashem in our lifestyle. Anyway, Parshat Shemot, and I've got a few things written down here, is full of messages for ourselves, for our children, and for our grandchildren. One little step can sometimes make all the difference. Where were those steps taken in this parasha? Well, Moshe Rabbeinu takes a little step to see what was going on with the burning bush, and then Hashem comes forward. Moshe Rabbeinu does a little bit of an action, a small step, by grabbing the tail of the snake to turn it back into a rod. Later on, we even see that the daughter of Paro, Batya, puts her hand in order to get hold of the casket of Moshe. When we take a little step, Hashem does the rest. But you can't just sit back and expect nothing. Each one of us can't just only rely on tefillot. When you take the step in the right direction, we are sometimes met, or usually met, maybe even always met, by Hashem that'll take the rest of it on the way. What else do we have in the parasha? Of course, Moshe Rabbeinu, he goes and he sees this burning bush and he's told, Shal na'alecha ma'al raglecha. Very strange. Where else would the shoes be if not on his feet? What does that mean? Sivan Rahav Meir brings a nice Hasidic thought that actually talks about the fact that because that place was holy and he had to sort of take off his na'alayim. Na'al, it comes from the word to be blocked. Sometimes we have to shed the things that block us from being spiritual in order to see that the place that we're standing is actually holy. Hamakom sha'ata omed. We can actually make every place that we are, doesn't matter where we are in the world. We don't necessarily have to be in a Beit Knesset. We don't have to be in a kollel or yeshiva. It doesn't have to be surrounded by who knows what type of religiosity. We can take off those shackles, shal na'alecha ma'al raglecha, in order to understand the place that we are standing now, wherever we are, can also be holy. Something else in the parasha. What do we name our children? What advice do we give about names in general? We know that Am Yisrael was saved because they kept their names, they kept their dress code. Some say they didn't speak Lashon Hara. The women had their own virtues. A few things that justified our being saved from Mitzrayim. But that was, of course, before, according to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, before they even received the Torah. So, of course, there weren't many things that indicated who we were as a people. And that's why today there are some people that say, yes, we don't really have to have a specific Jewish name, because it's possible that there are many other things that identify us as Jews. Of course, everyone agrees that having a specific Jewish name named after someone that had special actions or virtues and lived a special Torah life is even more unique. But it seems that it's not asur to even have maybe a slightly secular name. That's to do with names. The last thing I wanted to say was about violence. Moshe Rabbeinu at some point comes along 2 Jews who were fighting. One had actually lifted his hand but hadn't hit. Even that is too much. The hand is meant to be able to give, is not made to hit a fellow Jew. One has to be very careful how we behave when we've been wronged by another. How do we use our mouth, but definitely not using our hand. Anyway, there are lots of messages, and I think the underlying message overall is it's time to leave Galut, leave the Mitzrayim that we've created for ourselves, and come home, with or without Moshe Rabbeinu. Shabbat Shalom.